Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new process video and I am working on some photos from my New York trip in November of 2024. As you can see, I have a 4x8 page protector here, two 4x4 squares. This is not a configuration I use a whole lot, but it worked really well for what I have here. So I have square photo, obviously. When we went to the gift shop at the Grant Memorial, they had this in there. It's just a patch, but I can put red line tape on the back, whoops, and attach it to a background, so that's my plan. And then on this side, I just have the one photo from inside. I actually need to print a second one. I wasn't going to, but now I've realized, you know what? I changed my design a little bit from what I originally thought I was going to do. I need another photo. So I need to print that out, but I will have it. And if I can finish this back-to-back one pretty quickly, then I have the next layout in line that should also be easy. It's very small. So we'll see if I get through it all or not. I have printed the other photo, but I wanted to show you what it looks like before I cut into it. I made this in the Project Life app. So obviously it's a 4x6. Here's the 4x4 I want. And then I filled these two slots with just some things that were around the memorial and then on our way to our next stop, which was in Harlem, because these will fit potentially on the next layout I do that I was talking about. But for this one, because I changed my mind, I don't have a 4x4 photo now that has the white border. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this and then I will make my own border. I'll cut it down so that it matches this, put it on white cardstock, and that's kind of just going to have to be my cheat since I don't really want to order these. These were from Nations. I don't want to really wait around and order those again. I can do it on my own. Since the photo here has a 1/4 border all the way around, that means I had to cut the photo to make it 3.5 by 3.5, which I have done. And so it will sit like this on the cardstock. I think that's a pretty close match. Is it perfect? No, but for my purposes, it's going to be fine. And when you're quickly flipping through the album, as usual, I'm probably the only one that would notice. Nobody else would be like, why is this one printed like that? And then this one you made, like nobody's going to notice. Okay, now that I have those both made, ready, I'm gonna flip this over here. Or actually, I'll just put these over on the side. But I need to work on this front part because I still have this. And I do know that what's over here, there is some green. It's very much like this. It's outside things. So I could do a green like this in the background that's a little bit almost leaning towards a lime green, but not quite. It would be a nice contrast with this. I could go just white if I wanted to mimic that white border, but I have a feeling like it might look strange because that's a much thicker border around it. I don't want to do gray because this is already quite gray. I could maybe do it light blue. You can see it peeking through here. So I think what I'll do is I'll go into my scraps and I'll pull out a couple of options and just see which one I like the best. I found some scraps. I have one piece of blue and then one of green, which technically is two because it's two-sided, but we'll see what we think. So I have this blue, which I did check the pictures that will be on the other side. This would match fairly well with that, so I could do that. Let's show it like this. This is what it would look like with that there. So I mean, it's definitely a lot of blue showing. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I'm just not sure how well that's gonna go with this. So we'll see. I'm gonna move that one over here. Next I have this green. Now this is a little bit closer to what you're seeing there, but again, that's a lot of green in the background, but I do feel like that works better than the blue, maybe, in terms of cohesiveness. But then look at the other side. It's white with green. And because of this background, I'm thinking that might be the way to go. And I know I said before, like, maybe that's too much white border, but that was plain white. When there are these green speckles in there, I think it looks a lot better. So I think actually I'm not gonna use the blue. I think I will cut down a square of this to make it 4x4, and then I can just play with it and see which side I end up liking better. All right, I have that cut, so let's test it. Let's see. That's with the green. Kind of feels like too much. That's with the white background. It's definitely this one. It helps to see it like what it's actually going to look like in the 4x4 pocket. This is definitely the choice. So now that's good because now I can use this, and I know I'm not going to do anything else with this background. I'm literally just going to put tape on this and put it down nothing else will be on it. So I do need to grab out my red line tape and make that happen. I have my red line tape here, and if you've never used this before, if you need something super tacky that you know is going to stick and hold forever, this is it. Now, I will say though, when you use this, you have to be very careful that you're getting it where you want it, because once it's stuck down, chances are it's not coming back up. It's very, very sticky. So just make sure you're using it where you really want it. So I'll probably do 3 strips here just to make sure it's really secure. And I would also say use a gunky pair of scissors. That's why I have, these are my old beat up ones from Stampin' Up, like 15 years ago maybe. They still hold up. And then if they get all gross from stuff like this, I don't care. Whoopsie. There. Luckily I was able to pry that up. Now, it was probably better because this is a slick surface. When I put this on paper, you would not be able to do that, or if you tried, you would rip the paper. How do I know? Because I've done it. So I've taken off the top layer of the other 2. Here's the top layer of the other 3, or of the 3rd one. And then I need to just get this right where I want it. I hope that's about centered. Yep, there we go. Just press it on there, and then it doesn't go corner to corner, which is fine, but you can tell like by pulling on it, it's on there. So I'm not gonna mess with it, and that looks just the way I want. To bring in a little more of the green that's down here, I'm going to go into my green phrases and see what I can find. As you can see, I have quite a mix of green hues here, different tones, so I'm sure I'll find something. And I think I want to, it'll be either lower left or lower right, probably here. Can't remember what I did on the previous page. I think I put something there. I'll have to look at that, because if they're both lower left, I don't want that, so I'll have to look at it and then place it once I find something. When I looked at the previous layout, it was in the lower left, so what I've decided to do is just switch pockets here. These work either way, so I think I'm going to do that in terms of the pockets, and then here I'm still going to do lower left, because then it will be diagonal from the other photo that's across the page from it. I'm glad I looked. If I had done it with both in the lower left and left it as is, I would have been irked a little, I think. So we'll just put that right there. And then, you know what? I'm gonna put a little staple in there. Helps bring in that kind of gray and silver color that I've got going on here. And we actually did go in there and get information. We got a brochure about the place. We actually did some shopping too. That's where I got the patch. It was all inside this building, so that works out well. Now I can move on to this side, and really I'm going to keep this very simple. I think what I'm going to do is just put on a yellow label. Actually, you know what? Before I cut into these, where are my partial ones? Here, do I have a yellow one? I see some yellow. Oh, that's way too small. That's not going to work. Because I want to write in there Grant's tomb, because he and his wife are actually interned inside this memorial. So if they're interred there, I figure I better say like Grant's tomb or something to that effect. So I just need to find a yellow that looks good. I'd like it a little bit lighter than this, I think, but I'll go through here and find something, and then it obviously has to be big enough to fit that wording. I found my label. I like this one. It's a little bit lighter than those shades over there, and I'm going to hang it right off here. I think I thought about here, but not that I can't cover that up, but it looked weird to me. I feel like it pops better almost against the white, so I'm going to do that. So all I need to do is write Grant's tomb, and then it'll sit like that. All right, I have that attached. I'm just going to clip off what I don't need. Put in a staple, and then this one should be complete because I don't think it needs anything else. Let's put it in there. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, so we ended up with this on the front, this on the back, and because this video is already kind of getting long, I'm not going to do the next page with this, but I think I'm going to go right into it. So I'll just stop recording and go right into the next one. Thanks for watching.